Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever it is in the world you are streaming. Getting the Twitter machine up and loaded sometimes takes a minute. So many different devices I need to log on. I can also change the StreamYard countdown time from 30 seconds to 60 seconds, but that doesn't really make for the best replay experience if you're just watching a number tick down from 60. Nevertheless, I am here. I'm alive. It's another day. Gorgeous day here in Southern California. Went for a little walk today. Feeling refreshed. What's happening? Let's see. What's up, Shaden? Welcome in. Welcome back. Starting to see some of the same names appear in the chat as always. This is just meant to be a community-driven Q&A. So we time it. It's right now. It's 3:17 p.m. Pacific time. The purpose of this show is for days like today, in which there is a 12-game slate in the association. There is likely going to be some major news that drops throughout the entirety of this broadcast. So, for example, Trey Murphy III out for New Orleans, Herb Jones out for New Orleans, CJ McCollum going to miss one of his first games of the season. It feels inevitable that Trae Young is about to be traded to the Washington Wizards. I've known about it for a little bit of time, but since it's like not official and it's an obvious landing spot, that Wizards plan to do with Trae if this transaction is actually completed, and despite it being pretty obvious and the leader in the clubhouse to get done, of course, other things can pop up and happen. I wonder what the Wizards are going to do with Trae Young for the remainder of this season, considering they're trying to lose games unintentionally. Trae Young's been banged up. He's also owed an extension. And what does that number look like? Part of the reason why the Hawks are moving on is because they do not want to have to pay Trae max money. They don't feel like he's worth it anymore, despite his contributions to the franchise. Otherwise, they would have agreed to a number already. So what is Trae Young's market value worth right now? Is he a 4-year deal for $25 million a season? What's the number that the Wizards or anyone else that Trae is going to sign with in the future that Trae is willing to accept? Because, man, if I'm Trae's agent and I can't get this man $30 million, considering how big the contracts are in 2026 NBA, some of these deals on Supermaxes are going to start to stretch into the $70 million range. I can't even get 30 for my guy, considering all what he's done in the playoffs and years past. I know the game is kind of moving on without him in these small guards. You have to be just the most elite of elite offensive creators and producers like Jalen Brunson if you're going to be this size. Kyrie Irving, Steph Curry, right? You got to be incredibly proficient on the offensive side. And if Trae Young is not that, he's definitely doesn't make up for it defensively. So my guess is that someone out there is going to give him $30 million a year, which is half of the max. Half. Even then, 30 feels like a bit of a stretch. So I could see $30 million per year on a 4-year deal. So when the news drops that Trae Young has signed an extension, it's going to feel and look like 3 years for 120. 4 years for 120, sorry. No Dodge Chargers on the run just yet, Bruddy Carell. I have those alerts on as well in case there is a chase during this particular stream. What's up, Helwick? Same names here popping in. Getting our little community going. You guys are hopefully getting up to speed on the cadence of doing this around the same times on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is the structure of this. It's usually the busiest slates in the NBA are Wednesdays and Fridays, like 12 games tonight. We're still waiting on Cade Cunningham. Looks like the Nuggets starter or everyone but Jokic for the most part will return, but there are minutes restrictions across the league right now. So like Nick Claxton, Cam Johnson. You know what? Let me take this as an opportunity to bring in our partners at ProfitX because it's going to be busy on this exchange tonight. Let's see. We got Got an update. Ja Morant is going to be a game time decision. ESPN is praying that this game right here will feature Victor Wembanyama and LeBron James for their own sake. No, that would suck. No inside the NBA. No Wemby, no LeBron. You saw LeBron after the game last night said, any back-to-back, just consider me a game time decision from this point forward. I'm old. I hurt. I'll let you know tomorrow. But since we have a finite amount of Wemby versus LeBron games left, something tells me he's going to get up to play in this one. Face of basketball against the future face of basketball. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been downgraded in the game against the Utah Jazz. Ja Morant downgraded for the Grizzlies against the Suns. That should get a little spicy and messy with Dillon Brooks back in town. Obviously, Trae Young out for Atlanta. James Harden is the one upgrade. He has been upgraded to in and active for the Clippers tonight against the New York Knicks. Cade Cunningham downgraded. Brandon Miller's downgraded. Whole bunch of downgrades. And where do you guys stand on actually, let me take a look at this really quickly. What does Prophet X have up for Spurs and Lakers tonight, points wise? Wemby 20.5. So Wemby plays 20 minutes last night. He scores, what was his final box score? Did he score 30 points or something? Did he have 30 points in 20 minutes last night? And now we got Jaren Jackson Jr. as a game time decision for Memphis. So he's on a 21-minute restriction, Victor Wembanyama. He goes out there and just puts up, he just avalanche amount of points. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander news just dropped. He remains questionable for tonight's game. Wemby goes out there and just destroys the Memphis Grizzlies, but he's taken out of the game with 3 minutes and 45 seconds left for Luke Kornet and does not return because of the minutes restriction. So you're telling me that he can go out there and Bruce Lee balls out of the net during pregame layup lines, but he can't play an extra 3 minutes of NBA action? It's kind of annoying. Kind of annoying, honestly. He was killing that night too. Now, was he killing because he understood the assignment that I'm going to be taken out after 20 minutes? Therefore, I need to leave it all on the floor, and I'm going to exhaust all of my energy in 20 minutes that I would normally reserve or prepare to use over a 35-minute span. It's all going to be in short bursts. So I'm going to be tired by the time I come off the floor. Perhaps that's one of the reasons why, but I mean, the San Antonio Spurs are the inventors of load management. So to see what they did in Memphis last night results in that 1 point lead turning into a 1 point deficit. They end up losing the game because of Cam Spencer. It's just really hard. Like 3 extra minutes from a guy that's out there able to kick a ball 10 feet above the air, practically standing on one leg. Like the knee can't hurt that much. Johnny Football, how many flower petals have you pulled off this year with this Suns team? Reeves Seed asks, I'm going to catch up on some of these comments, so bear with me here, people. Hey Rob, who would you pair with Jalen Johnson if you were building him around him post Trae? I don't mind the they're going to get CJ McCollum out of this. And I think the holdup is they're waiting on see if they can get Corey Kispert too. I'm surrounding Jalen Johnson with as many 3-and-D guys as I possibly can. I wouldn't mind getting someone else in that front court because Kristaps Porzingis obviously has been out of the lineup quite often with his illness that I just don't know if it's ever going to get better. And then you're relying on Onyeka Okongwu to go out there and hold down the fort as a true 5. And he's done his part, but I do think there is a ceiling there. So I'm probably surrounding – I love what they did with Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They've surrounded him with shooters otherwise, bringing a CJ McCollum, an additional gravity creator and secondary scorer. That should be the formula for the Atlanta Hawks to live up to the potential we all thought they had before the season started. Shaden saying CJ Kispert and 2 first-rounders. If I'm trading first-rounders for Trae, they better be the most heavily protected first-rounders, practically to the point of never, ever coming to fruition. Trae has no trade value because he's an expiring contract. So he's not going to be seen as an asset unless he gets a guarantee that he's willing to sign at a discounted rate. That's the only way a team is going to trade valuable assets for Trae Young in 2026. Nicked Up Fan says, I'm a lifelong Knicks fan. What the hell is going on? It's NBA 82 game season. Like, there's going to be highs and lows. There's going to be times where team takes the foot off the gas. The defense has crumbled this past week. I think they respond in a big way tonight against Clippers. Slim Shady says, why does Trae want to go to friggin' Washington of all places? Well, first of all, he doesn't have a choice. That's why he's very open and accepting to going to DC, because I have zero leverage whatsoever. So I'm going to produce some good PR so that when I am traded there, the fans are going to think I wanted to come here in the first place and turn things around. I'm sure Trae would rather go somewhere he has a much more realistic chance of winning a championship. The Wizards are nowhere close. But this is what's necessary if you know, bro, we're trading you there. You can stomp your feet and do whatever you want, but you're getting traded to Washington. I think we're on the verge of getting the official word here in the near future. Brilliant Hoop says Trae will be the next failed John Wall. Beal. Wizards always overpay because they're desperate. I guess they're the East Coast version of the Sacramento Kings. But I'm sure the Wizards of all teams realized the impact, the ramifications of one giving out a supermax to someone, a smaller guard that is injured, like John Wall. Bradley Beal giving him all the leverage over the franchise with his no trade clause. You would hope if they do end up, because if they trade for Trae, that's different than re-signing Trae. They could very easily trade for Trae, shut him down, even potentially let him go through the waiver process as long as they are getting some additional assets back. I don't know what they want to do with Trae, if they want to keep him long-term or not, or if they just want to continue to move him through the carousel of, okay, now we're open to flipping him. Players have played one game for a team. Look at Rasheed Wallace in Atlanta before going to Detroit. It's happened before. Eric Stottle in the chat says, did you witness the Jalen Pickett game, and do you believe this leads to a leap in his role in production? I did see the game. So the Nuggets were missing. Let's take a look at the it's on the screen right here. They're in Boston tonight. They've scratched out 2 wins that they had no business. They were 15.5-point underdogs in Philly the other night. Jalen Pickett leads the way. What do you have, like 29 points scored or something like that? Peyton Watson had 24. A big reason was because pretty much every single mainstay in the rotation was out for Denver, obviously including Jokic, Murray, Brown, Gordon, all the above. So my answer is no. I don't think you're going to see that level of production again, especially with these other guys coming back. I would even look to Peyton Watson going under 14.5 points tonight. Here at the bottom of the screen is probably my favorite wager. Jalen Pickett's over-under is at 9.5 after having a usage percentage that rivaled Tyrese Maxey, that Peacock game from Monday. So yeah, it's just opportunity, and we have learned our lesson. How many? I'm CLV sober at this point. Oh, we got Joel Embiid. He's going to play tonight. That's nice. I am CLV sober for the last couple of weeks, and my life has never been better. So you guys know by now I like to take advantage of if I have an inclination that a certain player is not going to be available and the spread is going to change by 5-6 points. Of course, you want to bet that side before it moves, right? You beat the market by 5-6 points, and you've heard me bitch numerous times about that side has always lost this year straight up, not just against the spread. They're losing games straight up. And we just watched a team in the Denver Nuggets with Jalen Pickett and Peyton Watson, nobody, no regulars, as 15.5-point underdogs go in and win straight up in Philadelphia. If I wasn't CLV sober, I would have bet that spread. I would have uncorked on the money line. I'd be 0 for 7 on the year because I was there for the Dennis Jenkins game. I was there for the Nick Smith Jr. game. I was there for the Ryan Rollins game in Milwaukee. Stop thinking that there are scrubs in the NBA. Antonio says it best. Just because guys don't play doesn't mean they can't play. And when they get that opportunity, of course, they're going to treat that game that night like it's their Super Bowl because it's the last time they may ever get a chance to audition. Nick Smith Jr. was so sick that he had to keep running into the tunnel to throw up before coming back to the huddle. And he said, "Don't you dare take me out of this game. Otherwise, I may be playing basketball in the Philippines for the rest of my life. This is my shot to stay with the club and stay with the team." He may end up getting a contract the same way Dennis Jenkins may get paid after his two-way deal expires. Do I think Chris Paul plays again? No, I don't. And part of the reason is because the smaller guard, Chris Paul, is old, doesn't have the athleticism. He's obviously got the brain, but considering his relationship with some of these coaches that's certainly going around the league right now, not the most cuddly of teammates, despite being, a brilliant basketball mind. He's just too little. The NBA is moving on from these little short kings are an endangered species. And if you're a short king, sorry to tell you, you probably won't be making the NBA. Johnny Football says, "I feel like CP3 is getting blackballed from the league. Going to take a strong culture to bring him in. Plus, I don't think he has much to offer physically." Yeah, I mean, I delivered that point without even seeing that particular comment. But, of course, we're lockstep right there. Knicks are often being out-coached. My team has the most talent in the weakest East in 25 years, but we do not have our coach. I tend to disagree. I think Mike Brown's doing a fine job. I like the way that the offense is moving around out there. What else you guys got? Nuggets Sixers on Monday was crazy. It was Cade's out. Cade's officially out. Okay, that's good to know. So if we pull this up here, they're playing the Bulls, right? Oh my God, have you all seen the jersey matchup for this shit? Right here, Bulls, Pistons. Pistons still speak about the power of having roster depth and versatility, because this means we're going to get a lot of Dennis Jenkins. This means we're going to get a lot of Jaden Ivey. And the Pistons in these particular games have almost enjoyed having guys out, because now JB Bickerstaff doesn't necessarily have to worry about having all of these different mouths to feed of guys that think they should be part of the rotation. Still 8.5-point favorites, but an all-time classic jersey matchup here, a 9.8 out of 10. You've got the traditional Bulls road reds against the Pistons bad boy home whites that have Pistons on the front with the traditional logo. Gorgeous jersey matchup with the classic floor, the classic logo, none of that city edition bullshit, none of that NBA Cup stuff, no away teams wearing white. This game, I may put on one of my, even without Cade Cunningham, I may put Bulls Pistons on the main screen just because of the aesthetics. Nick Duck fan says, "Is Jaylen Brown an MVP candidate?" So if once again, if Shai Gilgeous-Alexander were to fall off a cliff, fall off planet Earth, what would your guys' MVP ladder look like? Let's get rid of Shai. Is it Luka, number one? Is it Jaylen Brown? Is it Cade Cunningham? Is it Jalen Brunson? I think you make a case for any of those guys. I'd probably go with, Cade. The Lakers have been winning games, so Cade, Luka, Jaylen, Brown. Johnny says, "My tears have dried up the garden, but now they are tears of joy. I'm so proud of my Valley boys. What an incredible surprise." They are a team which reminds me of when the Knicks were just starting to return to relevancy. And boy, were we overachievers, man. We treated every regular season game like it was life or death. Julius Randle, Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett. They weren't that talented, but they were scrappy. and every possession was fun to watch, right? They did not have the rich people problems that they do now with their incredibly talented roster. But there was something that you love about blue collar basketball and Colin Gillespie's and Dylan Brooks's. The chemistry is just so attractive. The product is so worthy of my attention, even though we're probably not going to win a championship and we have a lower ceiling despite wherever we end up in the playoffs. But still, it's fun to root for, so I get it. Wyatt says people forget Jalen Pickett got a triple double in his first career start. Just because guys don't play doesn't mean they can't play. Johnny says watching Embiid jog up and down the court looks incredibly painful. So Embiid's not jumping right now. He's not jumping. He's not leaving the floor, and it's intentional because he doesn't want to land on someone's foot. That's the reason why he got carried to the locker room with his most recent injury about a week and a half ago. He did return in that same game, but he's no longer jumping. So when he defends the rim, he's completely flat-footed. And that's why they were celebrating so much in the game against the Knicks, where Embiid dunked at the very end, and then the whole sideline was celebrating because he just doesn't dunk anymore. So when you watch him like drop step, gather up, and he's going for just lays, he will not jump. And he was awfully slow getting back for a chase down block. Was it Pickett that finished to put that game away? Someone got to the rim. Maybe it was Peyton Watson. And Embiid was lurking. And in the past, he would have he was just late. I think they ruled it a goaltend, perhaps, where he was well after the ball hit the glass. But the Embiid from the MVP days would have gotten to that chase down block easily. He is so limited athletically. Like his athleticism has absolutely betrayed him, but he's still incredibly talented. So he is finding ways to still get guys into foul trouble. He did it to Mitchell Robinson. He's still incredibly smart. One of the smartest, if not the smartest big man in the game. But yeah, he's not blowing you away with like colossal dunks and highlights anymore off the dribble. Eric Stottle says, dang, Pickett had 41 at Penn State University in the second triple-double in program history. I hope he can carve out a role somehow. All of us are aware of what Jalen Pickett did. That's his first name, right? Am I just saying it wrong? It's Jalen Pickett. There's so many Jalens out there. Jalen. Yeah, Jalen Pickett. Okay. There's so much opportunity in an age of load management where everyone is getting a shot at some point. And he will likely never get the opportunity to have this high of usage again. But this is how someone like, for example, Tyler Kolek started getting minutes with the Knicks. How Deuce McBride originally started getting minutes with the Knicks. And Deuce McBride showed so much so quickly with that new opportunity that it gave the Knicks confidence in being able to trade away Emmanuel Quickley, who was undoubtedly the captain of the second unit. He was an essential part of that rotation. And to get OG Anunoby, they had to get rid of Emmanuel Quickley. I think you only do that if someone like Deuce McBride has proven, okay, that means we're going to give you an increase, a promotion here when it comes to rotation minutes and opportunity. You need to be ready when that time comes. And he was. And it all worked out. Same goes for Jalen Pickett. Not many nights, Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon and Nikola Jokic are all going to be out. And you're the one who's chosen by the head coach to go out there and lead us in field goal attempts tonight. They sure seem to make the most of it when that time comes, don't they? Jay asks, when am I moving Denny Avdia ahead of Jalen Johnson for the MIP award? It's close. Jalen is just too good, man. Now, if Portland is going to be winning some games, if they can get that record above 500, that would help convince me to change the face on the leaders in the clubhouse. Jalen is it pains me to compliment Jalen because he's a dookie, but he should have won Most Improved Player last year, and he's made an even bigger leap. This is the similar take I had with Cade Cunningham and how everyone was so like, you can't give Most Improved Player to a number 1 overall pick. He's only a number 1 overall pick because there are scouts who believe that they provide their consultation that he's going to be the player with the most upside. Like, that's just, it's not ever a given and a guarantee. And the leap that Cade made from a team that was the most embarrassing squad in NBA history to taking a team to the playoffs, I thought he himself improved significantly with his decision-making and his scoring efficiency. He absolutely was worthy of Most Improved Player. Ultimately ended up changing my mind at the end of the season due to factors not in his control. But same goes for Jalen Johnson, that yes, he's already good. He probably should have won last year. He shouldn't even be considered. Like, no, man, he has absolutely taken that leap. And now that Trey's going to be gone here soon, he's only going to be on the ball more and more. Who has the worst NBA roster in the league, regardless of injuries? Sacramento. What's up, Styles? Thanks for joining us. Hello, Vegan Barbie. You again, I see. Still, by the way, it's 3:43, and we still have 17 or so minutes to get some official news on some of these big names that are questionable tonight. Vegan Barbie wants to know who I want to win the Super Bowl. I can't. I'm at the point now where I don't think I can name. I definitely can't name all the quarterbacks. If you ask me to name starting running backs in the NFL other than Derrick Henry, I don't know how many I could name. I am so uninterested in NFL. I don't know what the hell happened. I have zero care as to what happens. Zero. It's not even like an NBA versus NFL thing. I'm just so invested in college football. There's something about the NFL product that is just not attractive to me anymore. And I watched my team, like Peyton Manning was my hero growing up, still my hero to this day. Like life or death results of Indianapolis Colts games for first 20 years of my life. Even used to fly to Indianapolis from LaGuardia on an airline called ATA. What was that? Anyone from Indiana remember that? It was based in Indianapolis. It wasn't AirTran. I think it was ATA. Used to fly out for games because it was cheaper to go to Colts home games in Indianapolis, flying from LaGuardia than it was to go see the Colts on the road in playing the Jets, playing the Giants, playing the Eagles, something like that. But I just have zero interest in the NFL. It's like when Saturday gets here, I'm booking a whole day. There's NBA games on in the morning. I'll watch a couple of those. But once we get through a majority of that slate, like I'll see the scores when I come back home. Zero part of my day is going to revolve around the NFL. A lot of this, too, I think has to do with my international travel. And when I tell you guys, they have zero fucking clue about NFL. Zero in these other countries. They know about Champions League soccer. They know about like English Premier League or La Liga, depending who's there. And they follow the NBA. Whether that's South America, Europe especially, Asia. Like if I tried to have a conversation with someone about the NFL in Portugal, like a somewhat consider themselves a sports fan there, follows a lot of the soccer and national sports, but like NFL, do you follow? Like, can you name it? And they're like, does Tom Brady still play? That's the only guy they can name. The NFL's influence internationally is staggering, disappointing. Like the NFL is a United States thing and United States thing only. And it's very popular here, but it has not had the same influence like the sport of basketball does worldwide. Soccer and basketball, UEFA's Champions League, number one, NBA probably number two if you're considering influence internationally in totality. Oh, De'Aaron Fox wasn't great last night either, Helwick. I do know Jim Kleinzauser. Well, I know every roster from the NFL in 2005, 2006 because of Madden to this day. Mount McKinney, Bryant McKinney, Dante Culpepper. Oh gosh, was it Randy Moss? Michael Bennett was the running back. Kleinzauser. Chris Hovan was a defensive tackle. Like I remember the most random bullshit, man. Slim Shady says the Sixers were getting zoned versus Denver, and Nurse stuck with non-shooter Adem Bona at the 4 instead of Paul George. That was malpractice. Can Paul George is he still out there for? Can he play 30 minutes? Perhaps that's the reason why. I know he's been a little bit better lately, but between him and Embiid, it is just two zombies compared to what they were in their primes. Thank God they have Maxey and Edgecombe because Edgecombe has had now 4 straight games where he's had a massive fourth quarter block. That dude is almost near Ja Morant type of verticality. Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook verticality. It's getting there. That's a special air. Dejo in the chat says, who in their right mind would want Trae Young right now? Not a lot of teams, obviously. Now, teams would take Trae Young in a heartbeat if he's willing to sign for a lot less money than he's worth. Absolutely. But considering he's going to want to be paid like a star, no one's going to be out there in that market, maybe besides Washington. Miami Ole Miss pick. I got 60-1 on Miami, so I'm sitting here praying. But I don't know who beats Indiana right now. Indiana's a freight train. That they let in Miami. I knew it was going to be a problem the moment they let in Miami because Miami has an NFL. They are NFL players in the trenches. Like they can go shot for shot with the best. Obviously, Ohio State in the trenches, NFL guys everywhere. Miami's got those dudes in the trenches. Absolutely. And Carson Beck is he's experienced. I don't know if I necessarily trust him, but between Tony, their running backs, they just punish the hell out of teams. I know Ohio State had always been relying on those NFL guys in the trenches to overwhelm the line of scrimmage. You were not going to get that done against Miami. I would love to see Indiana versus Miami in the final. Love that. Favorite college football bowl? The Rose. I know the Rose Bowl ended up being a blowout, but it was close for the first half. And the vibes, once college football actually figures out what it's doing, and if UCLA is going to move their home games from the Rose Bowl to somewhere else, because every UCLA home game is completely empty. There's a couple of reasons for that. The first of which is the team sucks. The second of which is Pasadena and the Rose Bowl is really difficult to get to. There's no public transportation. And the students at UCLA have to take a shuttle bus to get from Westwood to Pasadena, which could take forever in traffic. There's a reason why hardly anyone's ever in the stands. So my hope is the Rose Bowl is just permanently the national championship game. The only conflict would be the Roses parade on New Year's Day. How would that still work? Because that's a major thing here in Los Angeles. Everybody at the Cotton Bowl was completely stunned by the result, but you could see Miami's D line was going to dominate the matchup 2 drives in. They got dudes. They got multiple of them. They got hockey shifts of dudes in those trenches. They are mean as fuck in those trenches. That's why they're able to run the ball with Fletcher and those jet sweeps with Tony. They put so much pressure on you, man. The longer a game goes that's close, Miami has a bigger edge because of their ability to win in the trenches. So it's not, we'll see how it goes against a mobile quarterback. But I'd say the best storyline for the college football national championship is going to be Ole Miss there without Lane Kiffin. Like, what a fucking story. And then you've got Sig in Indiana. What a fucking story. They're not rivals in any way. They don't dislike each other. They're from different conferences. Well, you'd have the Big Ten versus the SEC, but that would be such a, like, one of these stories is going to have a fairy tale ending and one's going to come to a devastating end. Am I getting tickets to a World Cup match in SoCal? I was thinking about it, but they're doing them at SoFi and not the Rose Bowl. The aura of the Rose Bowl is, especially on a nice day, it is immaculate. It sucks getting there. It definitely sucks getting out. Like, you are stuck in Pasadena for the night. They cut off all the streets. There's no Ubers. Parking costs $100. There's mud everywhere. But the aura of the game, I wish they would just play every major event there instead of SoFi, because SoFi it's a gorgeous stadium, but it just feels like you're inside of a space station. Everything's new, advanced. I am a boomer. I love classic shit, traditional stuff with heritage and culture, legacy, history. SoFi does not have that. It is. It's corporate. It's like LA's version of Jerry's World. It's nice. What do you want me to tell you? Like, the seats are comfortable. The facilities are top notch. I'd rather pee in a truck. I'd rather pee from someone that just got back from World War II, peed in that same truck. Like, that's what you get at the Rose Bowl. There's only so many tunnels that take you into the actual stadium, so people got to wait forever. It's inefficient. I don't care. I don't care at all. That place is gorgeous. Pasadena is just immaculate views everywhere when you're sitting in that stadium. There's also no bad seat there. SoFi feels like the Cosmo. I assume you're referencing the Cosmopolitan and the hotel on the Vegas Strip. My least favorite hotel by far is the Cosmo. That is the most like, let's go downstairs, take selfies and put them on Instagram. All right, Chandelier Bar is okay, but that place is meant to just try and be seen. It has no utility. It is so, like, futuristic. It has no soul. It's just selfie city. Everyone's trying to outlook each other. It's good for people watching. Everything is expensive for no reason. Nice facilities, nice, tables and all the above, but least favorite by far. I stay at the Vdara, Aria, the Wynn. And if you're looking for best bang for your buck, the MGM signature suite off the strip, but still walkable to the strip, always by far the best deal because you don't pay resort fees. Have I been to the Intuit Dome yet? No. No toilets for me, vegan Barbie. I don't want to sit there with just lights blasting. The TV timeouts during Clippers games, you pull out your little remote control that's built into the seat. Everyone's participating while they're flashing lights everywhere, and they turn. Oh my God. Allow me to be a boomer in peace. Not everything has to be some advanced technology, AI, futuristic space station. God bless the Rose Bowl. And you know what? Even the Forum there in Inglewood, it's been renovated, but it's still got aura. You heard me bitch about this too. I love bitching. It's my favorite thing. Complaining is probably my favorite hobby. This is why the Mets and I, despite always having a tumultuous relationship, why I was always willing to deal with it is because we were the ugly duckling of New York. Shea Stadium was a dump, but it was my dump. And it was such a recognizable dump. When you flew into LaGuardia, you saw this big blue building with the laser baseball players printed on the side. Shea Stadium was adjacent to Northern Boulevard, which had miles and miles of chop shops, scrap metal yards, the most disgusting, least aesthetically pleasing sites in all of New York. Northern Boulevard just lined up. That contributed to the atmosphere of rooting for the Mets. I love that shit. We used to tailgate underneath the freeway next to the scrap yards. You know what it is now? It's Citi Field. It's got the nicest restaurants. Everything costs $30 to eat. You want to eat a piece of bread? $35, $30. Citi Field is gorgeous. You can sit anywhere. The views are fine. It's very modern. And now that Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets, has got his casino license, he has bought up all the properties on Northern Boulevard to demolish them and build a casino on top of. I'd be a hypocrite if I sat here and complained about everyone's just in it for the money, because I got bills to pay. I got partners that I work with. But I got to tell you, I personally will always be a moth to a flame to a venue or piece of entertainment that has maintained its legacy and refuses to either renovate, update, or change to, I don't know. You can see what I mean. I probably would love the Alamo Dome. Even though, like, the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, there's something about domes that isn't very sexy. Alamo Dome. It's had some big games played inside of it, but it's a dome. Yeah, you remember when they put the laser players on the side of the stadium? That was the upgrade. Yeah, but it's so identifiable with the Mets. You knew always that was Shea Stadium. Just a basic concept, some laser lights that look like a baseball player. Just gave it so much soul, man. Love old venues. The Hollywood Bowl, vegan Barbie. The Hollywood Bowl. Aura. Red Rocks Amphitheater in Colorado. Aura. Wrigley Field, Fenway Park. Aura. Madison Square Garden. There's something about the prestige of maintaining history in those buildings that makes them feel special. The new Yankee Stadium. Ugh. So corporate. Oh my God. They tried to move over like Memorial, what do they call it? Memorial Park or something with all the tombstones and headstones of all the Yankee greats and the retired jerseys, whatever that place is called. And it's just so corporate. Old Yankee Stadium with their steep staircase, seats that were tight. Chat gets it. You guys get the show. I'm just preaching to the choir. But like the SoFis of the world, I'm like, I'm obviously going to go if there's an event there I want to see, but I am never just going to say, I could just chill in SoFi and just enjoy the, like, no, I need a reason to be there. There's nothing special about that brand new arena, that or Intuit Dome, that intrigues me. I like flip phones. Yeah, I hear that. Even Yankees fans, you may hate the Red Sox, but Fenway, you would go to a game there in a heartbeat just because of the stadium. Anyway, what else are you guys doing? This is the second show in a row that I was anticipating. Like, okay, the Nets are starting. Like, Nick Claxton's going to be on a minutes restriction. Cam Thomas again, minutes restriction. Nothing was really popped here. The Wizards are 16-point dogs. Jeez. You guys see that shit at the top of your screen? I know CJ's not there and Middleton's not there. That's a lot of points, man. That's a lot of points for a team in Philly that just lost to 16-point favorites. How down bad are we, Utah? That Shai Gilgeous-Alexander may not even play tonight, and the Thunder are still 19-point favorites in an NBA basketball game. Some of these spreads are ridiculous. Hey, who's going to win Defensive Player of the Year? Is Amen Thompson going to possibly win it? If OKC regresses back to looking mortal and their defense isn't just obviously one of the best of all time, I don't know if you can give it to Bam Adebayo in Miami, considering how mediocre they are. Could you make the case for Amen Thompson? Houston ends up winning 55 games and finishes in second place because Denver is without Nikola Jokic? Clippers, 5-point dogs tonight against the Knicks. That's a red flag game. Clippers are going to show up to play. It's their one game at Madison Square Garden. Harden's back. The team has been winning some games recently. The Knicks are struggling. Blood in the water. Minus only 5-point spread. If anyone's looking for action, I would say my bets would be Peyton Watson's under and Clippers +5. Here on ProfitX, the most reliable prediction market on the net. So many prediction markets nowadays. This one, though, this one you can actually trust. Knicks are starting Brunson, McBride, Bridges, Anunoby, and Towns. Okay, so that means no jumbo lineup with Mitchell Robinson. Vegan Barbie, this is meant to be a reverse jinx. Every time I root flippers and say something nice about them, they end up proving why they're the Clippers. Anything else you guys got here on this Wednesday? What are y'all up to? You watching hoops tonight or what? Watching college hoops. What's the Darren Peterson? Is that his name? Darren being load managed in college. I haven't watched enough of the other players yet, but how is Caleb Wilson not the number one overall pick? I only watch Carolina, but between Boozer, Debonsa, and Peterson, now I see why Cooper Flagg reclaimed. Oh, Gobert. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry. I forgot to mention Gobert during the Defensive Player of the Year suggestions. He has rocketed up the chart on the futures chart. Rudy Gobert is in the same tier right now as Chet, Wemby, and Beef Stew statistically in protecting the rim, meaning conceding field goal percentage. Ja Morant officially ruled out for the Grizzlies tonight. Jaren Jackson Jr. officially ruled in for the Grizzlies tonight. Yes, Rudy Gobert should be back in the conversation. Now, I don't trust him out on an island. If he gets dragged into the deep end of the pool by a guard switching a ball screen 25, 30 feet away from the rim, he doesn't have nearly the same effect that some of those other names do. But he should just be at least a part of the conversation because of his prowess in the restricted area for sure. And Minnesota, once again, with one of the better defenses in the NBA. That's become pretty consistent the past couple seasons. You still think Flagg would have gone number one if he didn't reclassify instead of Debonsa, Caleb Wilson, Boozer, Peterson. Flat man, that's tough. You're right. He probably would have, but it's a lot closer. And if he were to get hurt or something like that, that could cost him millions because of how the rookie draft structure, getting drafted first versus getting drafted sixth. I mean, it's all the max money that you can be paid is based on where you're drafted in the lottery. Wemby can miss 4 more games. Man, that's not a lot of games, Helwick. He's not going to qualify. There's too many games left this season. I know the All-Star break is coming, but that's too many games. And that's assuming he stays healthy the whole time and doesn't roll an ankle again. I mean, the Spurs can keep bringing him off the bench and doing the minutes restriction thing so that he still technically gets his games played, but something tells me he and the Spurs just do not give a shit about individual accolades at the end of the year. In a few months, Draymond's going to tell us how he deserves Defensive Player of the Year. So, no, I have wagers out on because when Wemby went down, I just kind of bet the field otherwise. And that includes like Chet, Evan Mobley, and Amen Thompson. I would say were the 3 others. But I mean, the Thunder are going to be fine. And I would assume it's got to be someone on the Thunder if they end up having one of the best defensive ratings of all time. Any final thoughts here as we're approaching tip-off of the 4 p.m. games here on the West Coast? Any final thoughts? Now would be the time. Landman Season 2, I have never been more disappointed in my life. As I tweeted earlier today. Do you know how difficult it is for a millennial male to stop watching an Ali Larter show? Ali Larter in Varsity Blues. How important that show was for anyone born in the 80s. That was pretty much every dude's first boobs. That or Kate Winslet in Titanic. Landman is so bad this second season after a tremendous first season. I had to stop watching. That's how bad. That was like House of Cards final season bad. Final stat of the night or thought from Helwick. You're going to have to assume these roles without Lexi here. Watching Cam Spencer destroy your own team stinks, but I can't help but love watching him play. Jay Vasquez or VZQZ says, get on the industry bandwagon. I've been watching since season 1, episode 1. That's the best show on TV right now. Can't wait. Industry season 3 was crisp. 9.9 out of 10. Damn right I'll be watching. Characters in that are just unbelievable. Kit Harington's going to have a great season. Isabel. Oh. All right, friends. I am going to go begin my work for the evening. It has been a pleasure. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if you're just joining the stream, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, between roughly 3:15 and 4:15 p.m. Pacific time, we come in here and chat it up based on action that's happening in the NBA. So I'll be back with you on Friday. Shout out to Prophet X, being great partners as always. GG's in the chat, and I'll see y'all on the timeline. Deuces.